All right, guys, welcome back to Maverick Overland Adventures. Right here behind me, I've got my Yakima Skyrise HD3 rooftop tent. And in this video, I'm gonna be opening this tent up and showing you guys the step-by-step process to getting this set up for use. And then I'm gonna show you how to break the whole thing back down and get it stowed away so you can get back on the road after a night of camping. So the first thing that we need to do in order to get this tent ready for use is to remove the weatherproof cover that keeps the tent protected from the elements. In order to do that, you'll notice that there are 6 buckles, 2 on each side, and there's also 1 over here on the back, and there's 1 on the front of the tent as well. So simply come around and remove these buckles. And then to get the one on the front, I usually just climb up on my wheel, hold onto the rack, and I can lean forward and undo that one there. Now, once you've got your buckles undone, you're gonna notice on all 4 corners of the tent, you've got this Velcro tab. When you open these tabs up, you have a zipper. So we're gonna go around all 4 corners and we're gonna open these Velcro tabs up. And then once you have your Velcro tabs open, you're gonna open up the 2 zippers on the side of the tent that swings open. Next step, the bottom of the tent here, all the way around except for the hinge side, is gonna have Velcro that secures the bottom of the weatherproof cover to the skirt on the bottom side of the tent, and that helps keep the elements out while you're driving down the road. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull that Velcro off of the skirt of the tent all the way around. The weatherproof cover is now free, and we can climb up here and remove our weatherproof cover. And then just hang your weatherproof cover down the side of the rig like that. Now what you're going to notice here are these loops that are hanging down, and these are to secure your weatherproof cover up underneath the tent so it's not just hanging down like this. And you're just going to start rolling it up. And then once you get this to the top, you should be able to wrap that loop around, and on the underside you have where that loop will attach. It's a little T-shaped tab. Before we move on, I do want to point out, if you take a look on the bottom of your platform here that forms one side of your rooftop tent platform, you'll notice this channel that runs down here. And if you look at the other side, you'll notice that there's a tab that's supposed to fit perfectly in the channel when this tent swings open, and that's what helps lock the 2 pieces together. You'll also notice, if you take a look at the end of the tab on my rooftop tent, it's a little bit bent up. So something that you want to watch out for is what can happen when you go to swing this tent open. If you have your weatherproof cover rolled up too high, is it can actually get between that tab and the channel that the tab is supposed to go into, and it can cause it to become a little bit misaligned. And what will happen when it does that is you're going to try to figure out why it's not locking into place, and your first instinct is probably going to be what mine was, and to pull down on it to see if you can get it to lock into place. And unfortunately, if it's not lined up because your weatherproof cover is in between the 2, what's going to happen is you're going to damage the tab. So if you do that, what I ended up having to do is take a screwdriver and kind of stick it into the end right there, and then pry it back open to get that tab bent back into the position that it's supposed to be in. So just be cautious of that. Okay, so moving on, next step is each side of the tent, front and back, is going to have this Velcro tab that you're going to want to open up and pull out of that D-ring that they have up there. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to come up here, and there's this buckle that holds your ladder together. You're gonna undo that buckle, and that's going to allow your ladder to freely open up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your ladder and you're gonna pull it all the way out to the extended position to where it locks in place. And we're going to use this ladder as leverage to open the tent up. So simply pull down on your ladder until your tent is at a near vertical open position. And I like to take my hand and brace it about midway up the ladder to get the leverage I need, and simply just pull the tent open. Keep an eye on your weatherproof cover like we talked about a second ago. One thing I like to do is brace my ladder against the ground while the tent is in a halfway open position. Keep your fingers out of the channel in case this thing falls, but I like to come in here and I like to just make sure that that weatherproof cover is going to completely clear, which in this case, it looks like it will, so we should be fine. So we'll drop this tent the rest of the way down until that tab locks into the channel, and the base of the tent now lays flat all the way across. Sometimes when these are new, they can be a little bit stiff on the hinges, so it can help to pick your ladder up and pull down on that base a little bit to get that tab to lock into place in that channel. So your ladder position is very important. Obviously, you don't want it straight up and down, and you don't want it out like this. So the important thing to know with this ladder specifically that comes with these high-rise tents, and I'm sure a lot of other ones on the market, is that you can close them from the top, or you can close them from the bottom to get them to the position where you want. Which one should you choose? Well, here's the thing, okay? They've got these little tabs, and you'll notice if you squeeze these tabs, you can close it step by step. However, when you close a step, what happens is those tabs actually engage the tabs on the next step and allow that next step to close. So if you close the ladder starting from the bottom like this, and you get it to maybe a position where you think you want it, something like that, it looks like it's locked into place. However, when you start climbing up, it is not locked into place because these tabs are engaging the next step, allowing it to close. So instead, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna close the tabs starting at the top, and that will keep this locked into place. So get it to a position where you want it. That's still a little bit far out there, in my opinion. Get it to that point right there. I like the look of that. And now every single step is locked into place and you can safely climb up and down your ladder. The next step to this, you've got this skirt that runs all the way around the tent. So you're gonna wanna make sure that that skirt is pulled down, and that's gonna protect the base of your tent from getting any kind of weather in there. That most rooftop tents, this one included, have the rain fly as part of the tent. So if you flip this open, you'll see that there's these buckles here. These are what's gonna hold that rain fly down to the tent and keep it as one unit so you can close the rain fly into the tent. And then alternately, when you open the tent up, your rain fly is almost ready to go. But of course, the last step to deploying your Yakima Skyrise rooftop tent is gonna be to put the braces in that hold your rain fly open over the windows and the doors. Yakima was nice enough to include this nice little carry pouch for those. And inside there, we have all of our braces, and we also have some tent stakes. So if you're camping in super windy weather, you can actually stake this thing down by using some rope to each corner, or stake it down to the rain fly as needed. The one end of them is straight and one end of them has this hook with this little rubber tab on it. So if you take a look at the weather skirt here, you'll notice that this canvas part of the skirt has this little opening, and if you open that up, you're gonna see the holes in the base of the tent where these lock into. You're gonna take the hook end, you're gonna hook it through the eye on the rain fly, you're gonna lift it up, open that tab, find the hole, and then you're gonna bend this and lock it into place just like that. All four sides on my vehicle are pretty easy to do because it's low to the ground and I can do it standing, but I find that the easiest way to do over the cab, or if you have a taller vehicle that it's hard to access, is simply to come unzip the window and just lean outside. And that is pretty much all there is to deploying this tent. It's not nearly as difficult as some of the tents on the market, although it is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more time consuming than some of the hard shells that you can just simply flip open and they're ready to use. Now, one thing that I do want to note is when you're putting those stakes in to hold your rain fly open, it can be kind of tricky if you have the rain fly too tight. So what you can do if you're having trouble getting those locked into place is you can loosen the rain fly. You can loosen up that strap, and that's going to allow the rain fly a little bit more give so you can get those posts in there. And then once you have them locked into place, come around and pull those tight again. That way you're not flapping too much in the wind. So now we're done camping. We're gonna put this tent away. So basically we're just gonna do the entire process in reverse. It's really that easy. The one thing that I do wanna note is if you've been camping in the rain, you never wanna close these tents up with moisture inside of them. That's the easiest way to ruin a rooftop tent or a regular tent, or really any piece of gear that's any kind of canvas or fabric or anything like that. Now, obviously, if you've been camping in the rain, you have to get this thing home. So you're gonna close it up with moisture inside. So the important thing to remember is if you do that, as soon as you get home and you have nice weather, you need to get this open back up out in the sun so it can dry off and get all that moisture out of there. And you really need to do that even if you haven't been camping in the rain. If it's hot and humid, you can get moisture inside the fabric that you don't even know is there. And also just your breath from breathing inside the tent all night can cause a lot of moisture to be inside the fabric. So just make sure once you get these things home, you always open them back up to make sure they're dried before you close them and store them. So let's get this tent closed back up. First thing we need to do is remove the stakes that hold the rain fly open. You can just pull them out and remove the hooks from the rain fly. Then once you have all your stakes taken out, your rain fly is free. You can go around the tent and you're gonna wanna pull your skirt up around the base. Hey, man. Can I see that? Boop, thank you. And one thing that I like to do is I like to climb up inside real quick and make sure all my windows are zipped shut. The reason for that is that way nothing gets bunched up and allows you to properly close the tent. However, once you get your tent home and you open it back up to dry it out, I like to open all those windows and doors back up so we can get some good airflow through and make sure the mattress is dry and the inside of the tent as a whole dries out. Then we can go ahead and close our tent. So we're gonna do this exactly in reverse. We're gonna use the ladder as leverage, pick it up to a near vertical position until it starts falling close, and catch it with the ladder, and then ease it down using the ladder as your leverage. We've got all this stuff hanging out the side, so we need to go around and we need to tuck all of that stuff back into the tent. Sometimes if you're having trouble, you can lift the tent up manually just enough to have a place to tuck all that stuff in. And while I'm up here, I'm also gonna go ahead and take my Velcro strap, put it through that D-ring, and then I like to put just a little bit of weight on the tent to get it nice and snug down and Velcro that closed. Also, while I'm up here, I take the opportunity to go ahead and close my ladder all the way. Don't forget your Velcro strap on the opposite side once you get down. And then we're gonna let down our weatherproof cover. Just let it fall down the side of the truck until it's nice and flat. Throw that weatherproof cover back over the tent. I'm gonna pull that weatherproof cover down until the corners on this side match up. One thing that I like to do too is once you have all of your rainfly stakes in the bag that they go in, is I like to just take this bag, stuff it up inside here, and then close the Velcro. And once you strap this strap down, tighten it and buckle it, that's gonna hold that in place. I haven't had any issues doing that, and it's just a nice convenient place to store it so you don't have to put it inside the truck. I will get the back of the weatherproof cover Velcro down, and then before I do this side, I like to come in and get all this tucked nice and neat, zip that down, and then flip the zipper up and lock it into place with that Velcro tab on the corner. We'll do the same on this front corner. And then I'll go ahead and run down the side here, pressing that Velcro together, make sure it's lined up nice and neat. You wanna make sure that there are no gaps in that for any moisture to get into. Then we can go ahead and we can click our straps together. So something I usually do is I'll loosen these up a little bit so they're nice and easy to click. And one thing that I do want to point out, this might just be because I'm usually an error on the side of caution kind of person, is when you're clicking these together, you want to make sure that you don't catch the weatherproof cover in between them, because you can puncture holes in that weatherproof cover that'll allow moisture in over time. And that's why I like to loosen this up so I can keep it away from that cover instead of having to do it nice and tight. And then once it's clicked, you can just pull that strap and tighten it down. And I like to tuck these straps behind it so they're not flapping in the wind, taking wear and tear while I'm driving down the highway. And that is all there is to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. If it did, let me know down below in the comments. This is an awesome tent. I've gotten the chance to use it several times so far. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the ones out there on the market, but the features that you get with it, the durability, the overall Yakima quality, in my opinion, make this tent worth it. It's an awesome tent, and here very soon we're going to be doing a review on this tent. So if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do that so you can see that review. And look at that, it's starting to rain pretty hard out here now, so perfect time to get this tent closed back up. I'm gonna get this camera out of the rain and get inside. I appreciate you guys watching this video, subscribing to the channel. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you on the next one.